Something I've always thought about concerning the movie The Mist, which is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Why is it that the creatures only exist inside of the mist? Way to go, Andrea from The Walking Dead. I'm sure it's actually her. Now, in this scene where these scorpion fly things came into the store, obviously they were not inside the mist, but the mist had already surrounded the store. There's something about the mist and the existence of these creatures, and wherever it is, they follow. Now, one thing I do want to point out, which is really hilarious, the mist from the movie The Mist is not actually mist, it's actually fog. I know, the whole time I was thinking about it, I'm like, it's the mist, but technically it's not mist, it's fog. The Geoscholar on YouTube actually said it best in his video.
Mist and fog are quite similar as they are both water droplets suspended in the air. Visibility is what sets these phenomena apart. Fog can be described as a cloud touching the ground. When the visibility is less than 1,000 meters or 3,280 feet in front of you, that is fog. With mist, you still have low-hanging water droplets suspended in the air, but the visibility is markedly higher.
And since it's a mist movie, you can't see shit if somebody goes but a few feet in front of them. This in actuality is fog, but whatever. Just thought that was a fun fact in case people were kind of confused or you just didn't know.
Oh,
So again, why do these creatures just exist in the mist? What is it about the mist or the fog that brought them in? Well, we checked out their wiki. It says that the creatures of the mist are inhabitants of an alternate reality. After a severe rainstorm from the night before, a thick, foggy, unusual mist crept into our world, bringing the creatures with it when a top-secret government experiment involving many scientists called the Arrowhead Project, intended to peer into other dimensions, went terribly wrong. This allowed the creatures to cross over the spilled portal and into the human realm. The phenomenon first manifested in Bridgeton, Maine, and spread across an unknown amount of the US, or possibly the entire planet. Due to the thickness of the mist, making sight almost useless to them, all the creatures in the mist hunt on the basis of scent. Again, it's actually fog. In the novella by Stephen King, it is hinted that the mist plagued the entire world and thus the creatures nearly eliminated humanity, while in the film version, the creatures were only seen in a certain area of America and were exterminated by the military 2 or 3 days later after the Arrowhead Project went wrong. Now, one thing that I've noted is that these creatures obviously breathe the same air that we breathe. They don't require anything else but the oxygen that we have on our Earth, or the natural gases. After all, it is said that this was an alternate reality, so they must come from Earth, maybe a prehistoric version of it, where animals evolve differently. Why the spiders have human teeth, I have no idea, but they do. So, being that these creatures can exist outside of the mist, as we've seen in the grocery store, I don't think that they require the mist to exist. It's just what they know. Surely, I'm pretty sure there are some creatures that exist in a swamp-like area, and with the mist having all that moisture, they probably feel more at home right inside of it. But I think for the film's sake, it's more so the natural spread of these creatures outward from the radial point or from the portal that was open, and I'll show you here. Let us use the portal, right? Let's say this is the portal that opens up. These people over here are the scientists, and they are watching the portal. Say the Arrowhead Project is up on the mountains over here, and the portal opens up over here, because we did see the mist coming from this area. And then down here, this is the rest of the town, and of course, this is that little market area. I know I don't have very good skills right now, because honestly, I'm using the mouse, and I'm going pretty fast. So this is the store. Let's just pretend that is a store with all the people inside. Now, with the portal being up here, the creatures exist and come from this portal. So as everything goes haywire, the mist starts to pour out. The portal opens up, and let's say there was already mist inside the portal. Whatever the swampy environment was, or the environment these creatures were in, it was very swampy and foggy. So that is why the fog exists with the creatures, because if you open your refrigerator, you notice that a whole bunch of condensation and air, cool air just falls out. It's contained within the freezer or the refrigerator, and when you open the door, that comes out with it. Opening this portal is basically like opening a refrigerator, and all of that stuff just comes out and leaks into our world. So what we see in the movie is the fog or the mist coming down here. Now what happens is the creatures are also drawn to this portal. It opens up right inside of where they're living. And of course they're walking and doing their thing, ripping a hole through space. If the creatures are right there, it's going to pull a whole bunch of them through. So, as the mist is coming out, so are all of these weird looking creatures that are also crawling out at the same rate the mist is also coming out. As far as they're concerned, they still see it as part of their environment, and so they follow or walk alongside of it. I know, my drawing is horrible. This is just, you get what I'm saying here. The mist then falls around the store, and of course, it is very thick, it is very high, and all of the creatures, the behemoth, everything outside, comes along with it. The reason why we keep seeing more mist is because the portal is still open at this time, and it is still continuously pouring out fog while it is open. Remember, this is a completely different reality. It's not just a refrigerator with this confined air and it just stops. This is a whole other realm that's within this portal. This mist is going to be pouring out for quite some time. As it continues to pour out, more creatures also pour out of it at the same rate. Kind of like what would happen with Cloverfield Paradox. Where these animals are, their realm is full of mist. And in time, the mist would cover everywhere. As a matter of fact, in the book, it covered all of Earth. And here, it just covered this region. So, from an aerial view, the mist is spewing everywhere. Upwards, outwards, wherever it can. It is spewing out radially from the center point. And so are the creatures. In time, I believe, just like in the book, the mist would eventually cover the entire planet. One thing I forgot to mention in this video, it is totally also possible that the mist formed in this movie not because necessarily the creatures that came from the portal lived in an environment full of mist, but because their air was so hot, hotter than what we're used to, because in prehistoric times the air was also way more hot and way more humid than it is today, and possibly when they opened the portal, their air pouring out and reacting to our air is actually what caused the mist or the fog in the first place. Just like mist, fog forms when warm, moist air passes over a cool surface. So that is another possibility. Okay, back to our regular scheduled programming. Let's just say the mist for whatever reason stopped right here because of weather conditions. That wouldn't stop the animals from crossing the mist and continue going outward. Remember how fast the mist was moving? The animals were just moving near the same rate, or they were always behind it because the mist or that weather was going faster than they were. Sure, some animals, as I've said before, might have stayed within the mist because the moisture of the air is all they've known. It's what they've existed inside of for all of their lives and all of their evolution. So feeling the temperature or moisture difference, if they ventured outside of the mist, they probably would come back inside thinking it's just some other environment that probably doesn't suit them. We have to also consider a lot of the animals in the mist probably don't have eyes, and as I said, they rely mostly on their sense of smell. So going out in the bright sun would probably blind them, or they probably wouldn't be able to smell as well out there because the water droplets within that foggy environment helps them to smell better. Or should I say, gives them a better sense of smell. And you may wonder, Altiori, why is that? Why do they need the mist to smell better? Can't they smell as well outside? Keep in mind that these creatures have evolved for God knows how long in this misty or swampy environment where it was always foggy. So they have evolved with an acute sense of smell instead of their sight. Well, why is this? Well, Dr. Laura Hopper, Director of Research and Development at OMI Industries and Natural Odor Eliminator Manufacturer, actually says it best, but it is something that is generally known. Notice that with humidity, even though humidity can be very annoying, your nose actually operates a lot better when it's humid than when it's dry. As a matter of fact, when it's wintry and dry, that is when a lot of people suffer from allergies. Our noses and the inside of our nasal cavities are meant to stay moist. As she said, it's known that humidity in the air traps odor-causing molecules and causes them to not only travel farther, but also linger longer. It has been known that humid air enhances our sense of smell because the humid air carries odor molecules to our noses. The smells stick to the air because the air is suspended, or those wet molecules stay suspended longer, and thus the smells travel much farther, and so does sound. I know all of this seems really confusing. The point of the matter is, the more humid it is, the better things can smell. That's why they prefer the humidity of the fog and the denseness of the fog. All of what happened in the mist seemed to have taken place mostly in the daytime, and that's when the creatures were like, yeah, it's too bright out here. But it's more basically what I said. They weren't traveling outside of the mist because they were traveling away from the point of where the portal was opening at the same rate or slower than the mist. So that is why the creatures tend to stay inside of the mist. It's not that they actually need the mist, even though it is beneficial from them for an evolutionary purpose, but because the mist was moving faster than they were. That's the answer for that. I haven't seen that answer anywhere else. If you guys have a better theory as to why the creatures stay inside the mist, or you've read the full book, I don't remember much about Stephen King's novella, but feel free to leave it in the comments, and thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.